Oh. Wow, that clicked through quick. Okay.
Oh, are we on?
Yep, we're on. It went click, click, as opposed to click. Now it's your countdown.
Uh-huh.
So we got no countdown this time, but it's cool. We're trained professionals. We know what to do. Everybody, Jules knows how to hurt herself. Um, everybody, I'm Simply D.
This is Jules.
And you are tuned in to the INNERMIX Show Hangouts. And it has been an incredible week. And we just want to thank you guys for, you guys are loving Instagram right now. I'm truly a fan of you being a fan.
Always.
But we have an interesting show tonight. Plus, we got a few questions from last week that you guys were kind enough to call in and ask, which I thought was really interesting at 3:30 in the morning.
Oh, that's fun.
Well, you know, it was afternoon for them. So yeah. I was like, who is calling? And they're like, we love your show. And we just had a few questions about the last episode. And, you know, I was up, you know, but it was just a shock, you know. But anyway, so for future reference, we are on the West Coast in California. Before you decide to call us, do a Google search for time zones. Check the time.
Yeah,
check the world clock, you know, because might not always be up. So, and then there are a lot of people who often try to contact us, you know, at 2:30, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I do understand that in their part of the world, it's like noon, you know, or something like that. So the next day, it's like the next day, noon. So, so
I mean, that's how my relationship with my parents all the time.
Yes.
It's like a small window on when we can actually talk, when it's a decent hour for both of us.
Exactly. I'm finding that. Yeah, find that window. You know, let me know where you're trying to call us from. I'll find the window for you. But there was we had after last week's show. I mean, I was talking to quite a few of our fans for, and I thought it was really interesting because everybody felt the need to call because they didn't want to, you know, talk on here because they didn't want people to see their face. But you know, we talked about getting over your fear of being seen and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, so we had a few questions from last week's show, so we're going to answer some of those so that everybody, you know, everybody in the class kind of gets their answer as opposed to just a few. And let's see what else tonight. You know, take a look at our topic because we're going to be diving in. And the title the working title we originally had for this show was "Am I Addicted to Pain?" But somebody told me that may not be the best approach to this particular topic. So, but I am of the thought that if someone does something over and over again and it continues to hurt them, chances are they're addicted to the pain.
Well, they're masochists.
Yeah, they're addicted to the pain. But so, and that's just and actually that's kind of a joke, kind of not, but kind of a joke, because you'll find out, you know, we'll find out throughout the show how some people can become addicted to emotional, but especially relationship pains, relationship in general, especially like when it comes to dating. People become addicted to certain behaviors that are not good for them. And so on our Facebook page, for those of you who do not follow us on Facebook, you should, because on our Facebook page, there's a video that we posted from a guy named Tony. I can't remember his last name right now, but what he was talking about was the effect that, you know, basically some of the things that women will do when they are in a relationship to, A, get others to believe that the relationship is really good and happy, and B, they are basically enabling bad behaviors in their men. Mm-hmm. So today...
What they think, though, they think they're keeping their men.
Oh, yeah. Oh, most definitely. So today, if this had been our other show, I'd be losing my man card today. But today we're going to answer some of the questions on why do men do certain things, why do women allow certain things, and blah, blah, blah. And then we're going to talk about it from a couple of different perspectives. We're going to talk about it from, of course, the guy perspective, the girl's perspective, but then the psychological perspective always plays a role. And socially, you know, how have these, you know, behaviors become, you know, are they getting worse or are they getting better? You know, we're going to talk about it, you guys. We're going to dive in and talk about it. So that's the INNERMIX. That's what we're going to talk about tonight on the INNERMIX Show Hangouts. But before we do that, we have a few quick announcements. One, last week we told you that our radio show was coming, and we have decided to push the radio show back to the beginning of the year. A, because we like to start things off fresh, and B, because Jules is going to be traveling quite a bit, and we don't want to like have her, then not have her, then have her, then not have her when we start the new segment of our thing. So we kind of got together and said, let's push it. so that when she's gone to Thailand without me, you know, she doesn't have to try to figure out how she's going to be on the show and all that stuff. So we're moving that, and then so you guys will start to see actual advertising and marketing for that before the year is over. But you know, we're going to let you know because you are our peoples. So we're going to let you know a little earlier than everybody else who's going to be seeing all these ads and stuff for the INNERMIX show.
The inside scoop.
Yep, you got the inside track on things. And then we made a few new fans in what is the name of that country? Had a horrible natural disaster maybe 2 years ago.
Japan?
No.
India?
No. Keep going. Huh? Philippines. In the Philippines.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So I was calling about something, and then I was calling. Actually, it's funny. I was calling about internet speed issues, and the person who called that I dealt with was in the Philippines, and she was laughing so hard. But then one of the things that kind of shocked me was that even though she had never heard of us, one of her friends actually had one of our songs playing on her thing in the background. I was like, what is that? And she's like, oh, that's my friend listening to like this group that she knows and that she likes in the US. I was like, what's the name of the group? She's like, Inner Sticks or something. I don't I thought it was hilarious. I said, Inner Sticks. I said, there must be a drum crew. Like but by the time we worked it out loud, I said, well, that's my group. I said, that's me and my partner Jules. And she's like, oh my God. So her friend wanted to talk, you know, it was the most hilarious thing ever. I was like, somebody's losing their job today, you know. So it was a good time. It was fun. They weren't really able to help me with my internet speed much, but you know, we had a good time, and they're looking forward to some new, you know, some of the new music and stuff. So it's gonna be good. It's gonna, you know, it's just always cool when you get a chance to talk to people out of the blue who actually know who you are. Other than, you know, except for that cousin that you haven't seen in forever, then they actually remember your name when you see them, you know. Whole different situation. Yeah, whole different thing. So, Jules, how was your weekend? What'd you do?
What did I do this weekend? Oh, I went to a wedding reception thing party on Saturday. I drove down to San Diego. A good friend of mine got married, but the wedding was a really small, very intimate, only family wedding, and so he did like a barbecue, outdoor pool, whatever reception party thing, you know, a couple months after, for his friends, and then so we just went for that, and that basically took all day because it's like 2-3 hour drive down to San Diego, spend a little time there, and then 2-3 hour drive back up. So that was my Saturday, and then yesterday. Church and watched a little bit of the VMAs, not too much. I didn't even see Beyonce's performance. And then watched a movie instead. It's a really good Korean movie called Myeongnang, which in English it's called The Admiral, The Current something something. Basically, it's about the Lee Sun-shin admiral, the famous Korean admiral from back in the 1500s or something, that basically defeated, with 13 ships, he defeated the Japanese army of 133 fleets. A brilliant man. But it was a movie based on that whole thing, and the older I get, I love historical films and historical dramas and things. It just tells you I'm getting old, I guess. And
I used to like those things when I was like 13. So
I never did when I was young. I was like, oh, so boring. And then starting post like college, it started to gradually grow and grow and grow my admiration and my intrigue in all of history. But yeah, so watched that, and then I just passed out. It was just so hot and tired, and it's been a long week. So, and then today is Danby's, and so just a lot of awards given out this weekend. I don't see any coming this way yet, but it's okay.
Oh, the Emmys. I thought you said the Debbies. I was like, what's the Debbies? I don't. Okay. You
The
said
Denny's?
yeah, I thought you said the Emmys. I honestly don't keep track of, like, I know that we got tickets or offered tickets to the VMAs. Was it last week or something like that? And I was like, probably not. Plus, I just didn't think about. I didn't think about like who would want to. Well, never mind. Never mind my opinion about the VMAs. But I remember because we had a friend in town and he was like, well, you know, if you want, I can get you tickets to the VMAs, and I thought about it. And I said, you know, let me start tackling that stuff next year.
You know what was really funny though is all the side eyes and the shades that people give to each other at the VMAs. I think that is the funniest thing in the world to me. Because everybody's like, yeah, everybody's just in competition with each other, you know, and it's all about you know, showing your best performance, and so everybody's in competition mode.
Right.
Whoever are performing, and then the ones that are in the audience, you know, just watching or getting ready for them to announce who the winner is or whatnot, they're all in that, like, I don't know, that ego is in full force.
Well, you know what? Well, you know, I think it's important, though, that you do have a little sense of competition about you, but I have seen, like, when people put on such bomb performances, they can't help but enjoy themselves. Like, they can't help it. They just got to get up, and they don't want to, but you can tell, like, you can tell the fake standing ovations, and then you can tell them, like, oh, you killed it. I want to be, like, because, you know, it's like martial artists or boxers, you know, or people, or, you know, people who just train together for one purpose. So when they realize they just got beat by somebody that impressed them, they're like, oh my God, how'd you do that? Or, you know, when I get this arm back on, man, can you teach me how you did that? You know, like MMA fighters are like that. They'll beat the crap out of each other and then go even though they're talking about the person just won. The person who just won goes and sits down next to the person who's on the ground or whatever, like, man, you okay? You okay?
Yeah, but that's because they have respect for the sport.
Right. But then there are some performers, like, I've seen it where, like, Usher did a performance, and remember the one when he was on the glowing wall and he was doing all that running down the wall, back up the wall, and the bungee cord and all that? Do you remember that performance?
No, I don't remember that performance.
Oh, okay. Well, it was inspired by some famous circus acting or whatever, but he killed it. And people who were talking bad about Usher before that, they were like, man, he killed the show, though. I mean, how many
years ago was this, though?
This was like a while ago. This was a while ago.
Yeah, exactly.
But
That's my point.
Well, now, you got to understand, too, now there are a lot of people, which we're actually going to talk about today because one of the questions has to do with our industry. But now, let's do it like this. I made a comment and I was going to post it, but then I didn't want to offend anybody, so I didn't want to post it on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. I'm just going to bring it straight to y'all instead. But I recognize something about, because I've been doing a lot of meetings for developing new artists and you know, talking to a lot of managers all throughout the industry, different levels of management. But everybody has the exact same complaint when it comes down to artists today. For the most part, there's always exceptions, versus artists from
back in the day.
like 6 to 8 years ago, something like that, right? Well, back in the day, our managers had to tell artists to get off their phone. You know, basically like go lay down. You need to rest. Your body, you know, your body is your instrument. You gotta take care of yourself. Blah blah. You know, but those artists were so motivated. They were always in the studio or always in rehearsals or always writing or always doing something, and then they wanted to share it immediately, right? They were just like, oh my God. But that's kind of the spirit of the industry that we grew up in. You know, it's like, so-and-so just wrote this incredible song. I got to come in and smash their song because I love their song. So I got to make sure that they love and wish they had my song, you know, type of thing. It was very back and forth, very healthy. And when they went on tour together, there were no fights or gunshots. Well, you know, well, now managers are finding themselves having to call their artists to wake them up because they feel like everything should be happening for them. And so they don't really actively participate or even on their own time. For instance, if I'm taking care of the business of the artist should be taking care of their business as well. They should be taking care of making sure they're rehearsing or practicing or doing something, you know, doing some writing. I don't care if you're sitting in your room and you're just writing up something because it's on your mind, in your heart, on your spirit. I don't care. But now I was in this meeting and we were laughing so hard because we're like, you have to literally call an artist to wake them up at 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock. But you're like, well, were they in the studio or performing all night? No, not at all. And oh man, there are some A-list artists whose oh my goodness, whose work ethic is so sad. It's like, for real, if your fans knew about this, do you know how bad, man? Oh man, it's crazy. But yeah, so I was going to talk about how artists are just, they're getting lazy. Like a lot of artists get lazy. So like even if you go see a show, like you can go watch a new artist do a performance, and it's basically smoke and mirrors, versus an old school touring artist whose voices may not be as crisp as they used to be, but they can still grab your attention with the passion that they deliver. So, so we were talking about that. I was on the phone with these managers. I think everybody had to vent on some level, and they all decided to call me in a group call. Because like I said, we're starting to work on, developing a new artist, and I realized that for myself, I'm going to be honest, I realized that I was so past development per se. Now it's like, okay, like working with Jules is different than working with a brand new artist. Working with Jules is like, okay, last thing we did was this. We can go up from here. We're no longer learning about our emotions, and I shouldn't say it like that, but we're no longer learning about things that that you had to learn at the beginning of development, right? But now I'm going back and helping somebody to learn all those things again, and I'm recognizing that I wish I were that person, because they get to discover things brand new, fresh, clean eyes, no nothing, right? And they're hungry. I mean, so hungry. And whereas, because I'm a little older and stuff, I'm looking at it like, I can't wait till I have that sensation again, where it's just everything is so brand new. Where I don't know the tricks that people will try to pull. I kind of wish I had all of it together. I wish I had the wisdom that I have today, but with that new freshness that new artists have, that one that says, I am just in love with what I do, not the one that says, I hope I make time for what I like to do. So, oh man, it's just interesting. But new artists out there, managers and agents right now, they're overloaded with people saying, and I quote, I'm the next star. I'm better than so-and-so. And then what they do is they name an artist that's already out in the industry, and they tell you why they're better than that artist. Let me help you out. Because y'all wanted advice about what to do to get into the music business and all that kind of stuff. First off, don't compare yourself to nobody. Don't tell me why you're better than so-and-so, because the only reason that you are probably better than so-and-so, or you think you're better than so-and-so, is because they're actually out doing something that you can see. So now you're comparing yourself in your room to somebody's ability that's actually out in the industry. Whether you like the way they carry themselves publicly or not is a side issue. But if you're saying that you are a better performer or a better what have you, if you're not out doing it, then don't talk about it. If you're somebody that says that you are looking to develop your skills, and somebody who is looking to make to carve out their own path in the industry, you are more likely to get somebody who's willing to develop you and willing to let you prove that you are better than so-and-so. But nobody wants to hear you compare yourself no more, because there are too many people out there that are doing more than what you're doing, saying that you're better.
Well, let's be real. It's just hard to deal with somebody with that much ego. Like, you can't teach somebody with ego like that anything, because they think they already know everything.
That's true. And most of the stuff they learn from watching so-and-so's videos that they're better than. So, You know, so the managers and I came up with a top 10 list. Oh, not sorry, top 10. It was top 5 list. Ooh, the top 10 list was something completely different. But the top 5 list of, you know, things that we look for in artists. And, you know, there were a lot of things that were the same. There may have been like one difference here or there, but, you know, pretty much the same. But especially if you're talking about a developmental, ooh, good Lord, management team, you know, then there are certain things that you're just going to look for. And one of the main things is you need somebody who is confident in their abilities, but not cocky when it comes down to how they treat, how they walk into a situation and how they interact with everybody else. You know, you have to believe you are the best at what you do, but you have to do that with a humble heart. You know, so because I'll tell people in a second, if anybody wants to come up and try to songwrite against me, I will destroy you happily. But I'm gonna
respectfully.
I'm gonna do it respectfully. Like you guys are soon going to meet Cyrese when you see some of the stuff that's coming up. Cyrese is one of our main producers for INNERMIX, and Cyrese and I were in studio the other day talking to the girl that we're developing right now, and she was surprised. She was so surprised because we showed her what she could do as opposed to what she thought she was able to do. We actually showed her that she had a voice in there, even though she thought she was afraid that it was never gonna, that it really wasn't there. So she was putting on the, you know, LA front, the LA funk thing. But I told her I wouldn't be wasting my time with you if I didn't know you could sing. You just didn't know you could sing, but it's okay, we got you. You know, and didn't have to use no effects, no nothing. Just had to get her to believe in herself in that moment. That was it. And the sound changed everything. And as a developmental manager, I was so excited because she got to hear a sound that she had not heard come out of her mouth ever. And earlier that day, sorry y'all, I'm just reminiscing real quick, but earlier that day, me, my wife, the new artist and everybody, we went out to LA, and I had to take care of some stuff in LA. But when we went out there, I played everything that DEF CON 1 had done in its past, from all the different variety of artists we represented, stuff like that. And we played the stuff they had before they met us and the stuff they had after they met us. And let me tell you that first off, I was in love with the work I'd done over the last, 12 years or so, something like that. I was in love with all of it because not only was it fun, but every artist got stronger, got better, and their sound changed. It became like incredible, and it gave me a new kick. I was like, man, did we do that? I'm listening to the songs that I wrote for people. I'm like, man, did I write that? Because that was a different me than I am today. But I'm in love with the music. I was floored. I'm sorry, y'all. I had a fan moment, but I was really just taken by the work that we had done as a team, and as much chaos that sometimes comes when you're representing people. The work was incredible. We did some great work, and so I'm looking forward to what's coming next. What's coming next down the road, because I'm listening to new INNERMIX stuff that y'all ain't heard yet, and I'm like, was I there when that was recorded? Like I'm just listening to a lot of stuff now, and even the new artists, the one that we're working with, but also some other ones who were just, who I was playing some new music for, they were like, we love your stuff. It has the right feel. Nobody else feels anything, but you have the right feel. I don't even know how to describe the feel. I said, yeah, we touching them hearts. It's the heart of the thing. And I said, one thing about it is Jules and I are going to write about stuff that means something to us. So not just something that's going to make us popular, because I could write a song about cereal and be popular. That's easy. That's real easy. I said, but to this week's lesson for our new, because Jules knows that I teach a lesson with every single situation. Yep. This girl is figuring it out. She's like, oh my God, like, how much do you know about stuff? But we took her. We did the patience test on her this week. First off.
Oh.
You want to tell everybody how you did with that one?
What are you talking about? 9 colors.
This girl was on the edge of her seat, just watching everything. Like she was just so taken. Um, so she did good. She did, she did good with the patience test because I wanted to know how, because you test an artist's patience to see if they need to develop patience or what, because eventually this industry is all about hurry up and then wait. Most artists don't do good with the wait part, or they become very self-destructive with the wait part. So when they're not with you, they could be out somewhere just wrecking their life situations or their career because they don't know how to wait and be productive when waiting. So, I'm sorry, I'm just remembering some things. So, yeah. So anyway, so my last 2 weeks has been all about artist development, all about teaching lessons, all about one thing I've been, musically we go through this a lot, and we're talking about it from every aspect of the industry. But for music, one of the main rules is you have to know that there's nothing, you have to know kind of that there's nothing that's going to prevent you from giving your best work. You have to know that you can put something out there. Like someone asked me, well, D, can you write songs more like, this, that, or the other that talks about, really gratuitous sexual acts and stuff like that and blah, blah. I said, I can, but I choose not to.
Yeah. Why would they even ask you that?
Oh, because I'm a quick writer and they wanted something that was going to help them. It wasn't art artist. No.
Okay.
No. That would get you a strike.
I was like, what?
No, that's a strike. And we don't even tell you how many strikes you get. You might only get one. But no, they were just asking. Somebody was asking me about that, and I was like, I could, but I just choose not to. But that doesn't mean that I can't. And one thing that when I am developing people, I tell them that, you have to know that there's no boundary on what you're able to do. So that way you're able to choose. But if you feel like there's something you cannot do, then you will always feel like you can't break through this boundary. So, so it's one thing to know that you're able and choose not to. It's another thing to not know if you're even able. Mm-hmm. Because then that sparks fear in lots of other areas when it gets too close to your inability to do stuff. So, Jules, go ahead and take them into the topic because I have to go answer this thing real quick, and then I'll be right back.
All right. Well, the topic came up. Like Dee said earlier, we watched a video from this person, this man named, I believe, Tony. He basically, in his message, had talked about everything that we have been talking about for the last, I don't know, forever. Last couple months at least, if not a year, on how women treat how women treat men affects how men will eventually also treat women. It's a perpetual cycle that constantly happens. And like, we talked about last week about like stupid, what we think are really funny or ridiculous lyrics in songs. One of them was like, oh, these hoes ain't loyal, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so when men talk about women in those kind of language and in those terms, and they go around and sleep with other girls, and they cheat on you and do this and do that, they think they're the ish. A lot of times it's because what this man was saying in the video is because women, they talk about their men like they are the ish. They, put it up all over Facebook, all over Instagram, all over any social media outlet, talking about how wonderful and awesome and amazing their men are, before there's any commitment to each other. If you're talking about your husband, if you're talking about somebody that you've been dating and for a very long time, and you're already on that road to getting married, the commitment is already there. That's a different story. But somebody that you just met a couple weeks ago, somebody that you just started dating, a few months, you don't really know a whole lot about them just yet, and then you talk about how amazing they are. They have not committed themselves fully to you. You either, and neither have you technically. You've only been together a couple of weeks or a couple of months. There hasn't been enough time invested for anybody to be that solely, committed. on most grounds. If again, there's exception to every rule, especially if you know you guys they're godly people, they already know what they want and it's all set, and that's a different story. But we're just talking about in general terms what's out there in the dating world right now. Somebody that you find on Tinder, somebody that you find like at the bar. These these kind of relationships for the most part are not going to be committed immediately. And for women to praise their men like they're sent from heaven, they're presents from God to them, and they're the best man on earth, talking about it all over the internet, other women are gonna think the same. And there's gonna be, what this guy is saying is that there's gonna be more temptation for this man because you just talked about him like he's the he's gold, he's a golden child, and he's gonna get more attempts thrown at him, more temptation thrown at him, and when he's at a place where he's not committed to you just yet, what's gonna stop him from taking those solicitations basically. What else was he saying? He was saying that before you're committed, before you guys are both like man and woman committed to each other, going towards that marriage route or already married, don't do things that married couples do. Don't give him the privilege of a husband when he's just somebody that you're dating at the time, such as your entire body, yourself, your being, your soul, your womanhood, basically your body, your sex. Don't give him the ability to don't live together. That's what married couples do. Don't allow him to be all up in your space, all up in your life when he's not fully committed to you. That's what this guy is saying. And he has, I don't know if he has children or not, but he said he's been with his wife for 7 years, fully committed to her, because she treated him that way, in the sense that she did not go all over social media talking about how great he was. She made him work for this relationship. She made him work for him to wow her, to woo her, to court her, and he respected her so much more because of that, instead of just saying, here I am, just I am fully committed to you. After 2 days, I'll give you everything, I'll do everything for you. When that happens, men don't respect you as much. It's just like when you work, I think of it as this, and I don't want to compare women to like any substance or any object, because that's not how it is, but it's a really rough analogy, so bear with me. If you're working, so if you get something for free, let's say you get something as a add-on to whatever it is that you bought, oh, it's great, it's cool, but it's free, so you don't give it as much value. It doesn't you don't put it on some stand. It doesn't get like a spotlight, whatever. You worked your butt off for 2 years at this job to save money and save money and save money, and finally you bought this beautiful thing, whatever it is that you wanted, whether it be this gorgeous purse, whether it be shoes, whether it be a car, whether it be whatever it is, something that you worked so hard and you wanted it for so long, you invested time into it, you invested your efforts and your hard work and tears and sweat into it, and you finally purchased it. You are going to love that thing and cherish that thing so much more than something that you just got for free. So that's the analogy in the dating world. Don't just give it up for free to somebody, men and women both. Just don't give it up for free to somebody who doesn't work for you yet, and not work for you, but you know what I'm saying. He's somebody who's not working to not just impress you, not really to flaunt all his stuff. That's not what I'm saying, but then to really win your heart, to really work to get to know you, who you are, what you want, what you desire, what your likes and dislikes are, working to become a better person for you. That kind of person, then you are ready for a more committed, serious relationship, and you can devote yourself. So yeah, that's what this guy Tony was saying in his video, and I said amen. I don't know how many times throughout the, I don't know how many, it was a few minutes that he was talking about it, but you know, it was sent to me by several different people, and I think everybody that heard it, men and women, both said I agree. So you know, I posted to you guys to go and watch it on our Facebook page. It's up on there, and let us know if you agree. Maybe you don't. I don't know.
So earlier, yeah, because earlier we asked, you know, watch the video, let us know your thoughts, things like that. And so then I forgot that what happens is anything that goes on our Facebook page also goes to our Twitter. So people are responding, but they're not responding on Facebook. I'm looking on Facebook like, where's the responses? I don't see no responses because they're on Twitter. And it got passed around quite a few times. But here's the thing that started a little bit of a back and forth for a hot second. But so in there, Tony says that basically, if a man is not showing you, you know, it's not his words, but if a man is not showing you that you are valuable to him, then don't stay in that relationship, right? Because he should be leading the way into what it is that you are both desiring, you know, in terms of like a relationship, that kind of stuff. If he's not setting a standard, a goal, and moving the relationship into that goal, then he's not going to be the leader material. You know, what he's talking about is the men that often will take advantage of situations, usually because the woman is allowing him to, in some shape, some shape, form, or fashion. Then he's not even thinking about leading her anywhere because he has nowhere to lead her. He has nothing to gain. He has nothing to there's nothing that he has to work for. So since he doesn't have to work for anything, he's going to get complacent. He's going to say, well, you know what? Technically, I'm already getting what I want. There's no reason for me to actually do more for you. The only thing I have to do now is do the things that you want me to do later when I'm about to lose you, so I can get those things. Then y'all get complacent again because you've already set a standard for me, you know, in this relationship. And it's the same thing for a man who likes to go out and spend a whole bunch of money on a woman, and then when he, you know, then he says, how come she only loves me for my money? Well, that's all you gave her was money. You know, so you didn't show her that you need to be valued as a person. You showed her that you could buy her affections. So something else I looked up and I thought it was really funny. If a woman tells a man, I want to come live with you, or I want to come over to your place and stay with you for a while, a man says, no, I don't think that's a good idea. Right? But if a man says it to a woman, she's like, oh, yeah. And she's more willing than a man is to do it the other way around. And I was trying to figure out why this is, so I decided I'm going to talk to a few people. Because I've always had an open door policy, you know, with my friends or whatever. But it was very interesting to me. And basically, the girls I talked to said, well, to a woman, sometimes that can mean that the relationship is getting closer and she trusts him in her space. So she's more apt to say yes because she wants to bond to be stronger. And then she said, and then what they'll use is like convenience and stuff as an excuse. But the real of it is she wants him closer. So I'm like, okay, I can see that. Because, you know, if my situation had been reversed, my wife would have been like, cool, come live with me, move your bags in. Hey, everybody, you know, like, if she, you know, it'd have been, but all she really wanted was to spend more and more time with me. She wanted to be closer and closer to me. So, I get that. Men say, well, she's getting too close. I can't have her stay at my spot, you know, because she's getting too close. And, you know, she has to understand I still need my space. It's a very interesting, dynamic there. And I was like, well, but you want to go stay with her? Well, yeah, because that's her space, not my space. So
that's so jacked up.
Because in her space, well, first off, let's be real. A lot of men today, because I've heard this story like, oh my God, I don't know how many times in the last 4 or 5 weeks, okay? But everybody I've talked to about this situation is in their 20s. I will start it off like that.
That makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, yes. It's in their 20s. And so all the girls are basically saying, you know, he's just staying at my house for a little while. I said, how long has he been there? Oh, you know, he's there off and on. He's been here for like 5 months off and on, you know. I was like, okay, where is he when he's not at your house? Oh, he has a place or he lives with his mom. One of the two. It's always, you know, I was like, okay, he has a place. Why isn't he at his place? Well, you know, we went out. We were having a good time. And, you know, it just got late. So I just told him he could stay here. Okay, where's he sleeping? Well, see, We kind of share the bed because I don't want anybody sleeping on my couch. Oh, I see. So you're giving him husband privileges. Well, he's not your husband. Well, we're not doing anything, but he's in your bed. She's like, oh, I said, what if your dad happened to surprise you with a visit, or your mom comes into town and surprise you with a visit? And there's one girl I was talking to, I said, and what about Spanish mothers? Spanish mothers are not they carry weapons with them. Like, they just walk with weapons, you know what I mean? I said, so you just happen to be all surprised, mom shows up, walks through your door, and what do? Because you have some man, as you open your front door, some man is in your room, in your bed. It's hard enough explaining why he's on your couch, but now he's in your bed. She said, I've never thought about it like that. And she's like, see, that's why I don't talk to you, D. I said, no. If you know how to answer some of these questions, not a problem. It's cool. Whatever so once somebody barraged me with a bunch of questions because my wife, kept finding ways to say she needed to be at my place, right? So her mom eventually just got really irritated and started asking me a lot of these same questions. Well, what happens if you guys have a baby? What happens if she gets pregnant? I said, well, that's funny because I thought about that, and I'm actually making sure that, and I'm not even going to use birth control as an excuse. What I'm going to tell you is that I'm a man of my word. I'm going to stay committed to the things that I do because if I'm in error, I'm trying to get the error right. If I'm doing something wrong, I'm trying to get the wrong right. And if in my error, in my mistakes, something happens, that's still on me. And best believe that means that I've already made sure I can provide medical care, stuff like that for my family because they would be my family. She hated that answer because I didn't say, oh, well, we'll see, whatever happens.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. And I didn't say, well, I'm right because I'm an adult. No, I said, no, we wrong, and that's why I'm going to fix it. But if something happens in the process of me getting it fixed, don't even worry about it because I love that girl. And I'm taking care of her and whatever children we have. And that's just my word because God has always made a way out of the sticky messes we get ourselves into. And she hated that. She told me, well, if it's real love, why don't you guys separate for the summer and then see if you guys still have feelings when you get back? I said, that's like me saying, I know you need money, but why don't you separate from your money for a while? I'll hold on to it, and if you need it when the summer is over, you can get it back. I said that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And that's what I said. I said that is the dumb. I said no disrespect, but that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I said why would I let go of someone I love and plan on being with for the rest of my life because you're unhappy? That doesn't make sense to me.
What did she say to that?
She didn't like that either.
Well, I'm sure.
She didn't like. I said I'm a man and I know what I want, and what I want is to make that woman very, very happy. And because of that, then I'm not going to allow someone to try to come in and try to make us unhappy so that we start to have doubts and fears and all that kind of stuff. That's the one for me. That's the one God sent me. That's the one I'm going to work hard to make sure I can do what needs to be done for our family. And I think she got mad because, well, forget what I was about to say. But I think, like, D, stop. Okay, but but I think she just really got mad because I never back down. If there's something that I know, like, if there's something that I just know to be true, something that I just know is God sent, that I will not back down. That's just my.
Well, yeah, because you backing down would be dishonoring God.
Oh yeah.
So no.
so she was not happy. Oh man. And then issues ensued because it was at that point that I told my wife, I want to be with you, and because she was mad already because I was asking instead of talking to the mom who raised my wife, I went to go talk to her dad because he could judge a good man. Mm-hmm. And when he was like, my only concern is about your sight, but I have no concern about your love for my daughter, and God can do anything, so I'm not even concerned about that as long as she knows that that it's not one of those romance fairy tale things that all of a sudden your sight will return and birds will be chirping. And he said it's not that I think it's impossible he said I know nothing's impossible for God, but I don't want her to be walking into an illusion that turns into a delusion. And I said that's funny because my mother had the same concern. I said, but other than that, he said, but you're a good man. And it took a big weight off my shoulders. We didn't have to run away and elope. We didn't have to go, through a bunch. And then he said, and any mistakes you guys are making. Now, this is what cracked me up. He said, anything that you guys are doing that are not lined up with God, I know that you guys are strong enough to get it right. So I'm not even concerned. I'm just praying for you guys, because I'm not going to tell her you're a bad man because you guys are doing these things, because I know that you are the kind of guy who's going to get it right. And literally, that's what ended up happening. So I was like, cool. But so now when I talk to people about, relationships and stuff, because everybody has that one thing that God tells them not to do because it will wreck them and it will wreck their relationships, right? And I recently had to have that discussion with one of my 20-year-olds. Oh, man. And I was so tickled. Because, let's see, I can't give it away like that because then she'll be upset. Let's say like this, like I said, everybody has their thing that they know God has basically told them, if you go out there and do all these things, just don't do this, and you will be fine. It's going to work out for you. It's not going to be easy. You have a road to travel, but stay away from this, because this thing will poison your relationship, from the inside out. For some people, it's drinking. Some people, it's sex. Some people, it's cursing. Like, I had to not use the F word, because it sets me off, like crazy, because that's the word that sounds like a punch. So my thing was just like like I was telling somebody earlier today that I used to be really upset because I once tried to go out and buy drugs because I felt like I wasn't fitting in. I wasn't able to get the girls I wanted because they always wanted the guys who were,
bad boys.
The bad boys, yeah. They were sleeping with their friends, or like this guy. There's one girl I knew. She wanted to go out with this guy, but this guy had been hooking up with her friend. But it was okay because they weren't actually in a relationship. It was just a hookup. So apparently, there's a since it wasn't her boyfriend, then it's still open for for heaven.
It's open grounds.
Open ground. So I'm like, okay. But then I said, so if I went out, hooked up with all your friends, and then came back and hooked up with you, it'd still be okay. She said, well, yeah, because, it's different then. I said, but if I'm just a good guy that just wants to be with you, then I'm too nice? What the hell is too nice? Right? So,
Wait. She said, okay, so if you went and slept with all these people and came to me, then I'll sleep with you?
Or something like that. Because she said I'm a nice guy, and and basically I'm too nice for her. But she was attracted to thugs, and she was attracted to guys who were just like all about everything. Now, mind you, she had not been with anybody at that point yet either. But that's what she was drawn to. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, but me and you, we ain't out there doing that craziness. But you're drawn to the guys who are out there doing that craziness. And by that point, I'd had enough. And so, because everybody wanted somebody who was thugged out or whatever. But so I'm like, forget it. So I went out and tried to buy some weed and some X. And the guy tried, so the guy, the dealer I knew, he wouldn't sell to me. He said I'm too nice of a guy for him to sell to. That pissed me off. So he actually gave me money to go get a meal so I could just hang out and just think for a while, because he said, you must just be stressed, man. You just might be losing your way a little bit. He sat there and counseled me. I like how...
that happens all the time. Drug dealers, counseling other people. Stay away from drugs.
It was just he gave me money not to buy. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, what is this? Oh, man. I remember exactly. He gave me $76 to go have a meal somewhere.
What?
He gave me $76 because that's the only.
Bellagio Hotel?
No, apparently I was, because all I went to was McDonald's across the street from the location, and he's like, man, here, just take this. This is my loose money. Just take this and go get something to eat. Man, you shouldn't be here. You can't be doing this. Blah blah. So I'm like, whatever, man. So I go off. And I go to this other dealer, but by then, this dealer said, "Nah, man, sorry, I can't sell to you. So and so told me that I can't sell to you if you try to come to me." I'm like, this is some crap. I was pissed. I was hot. But I remember the point of this was there are certain things that people just have to stay away from. For me, it was sex, and it was and I knew it to be true, but it was sex and it was drug stuff, because I may not have made it back from that journey because I took things way too personal. So like there are people out there who can, have sex and not care. It's just a physical act. It means nothing to them, whatever. I was not that person. Right? So if I had slept with any of my exes before I met my wife, then I'd probably turn into a really bad guy. Like a really bad guy, because I would have been poisoned against being the good guy, because that guy gets nowhere and was getting nowhere in my opinion. And if I had smashed on any of those girls, even as an R&B singer, if I had smashed on any of those girls that was actually, coming at me like that, then I would have not been looking for nothing serious. I would have not cared, because they didn't care. So why would I care? At that point, especially if I gave my heart to somebody, shared my body with somebody, and then they went off and, it's like, oh, well, it was great and everything, but, yeah, I'm a planner, so it just wouldn't have been good. And I think that when I realized that these are the things I need to stay away from, even when I decided, oh, forget it, I'm just going to go after this girl, she said, I really want to, but you're too nice of a guy for me to do this to. I'm like, what the? Oh, I was hot. But anyway, there are some things we got to stay away from, and everybody has their thing they got to stay away from. Mine was sex and drugs, okay? Where all my friends could do it, I couldn't. I cared too much. And, now, what this guy is like, okay, well, how much do you care about yourself? How much do you love yourself? Are you willing to set a standard for yourself? Are you basically telling the person that you are with that you are worth more than what he is treating you like? Do you know your value? Or are you just sitting there judging your value according to what everybody else says you should have or what you should be doing? This weekend, I had the privilege to talk to someone, and I said, you're good. You have to make a decision, not based on what I say, not based on what anybody else says, but based on what you know your value to be. So you might say you agree with me and still go do something else. Why? Because you really have not yet determined that you understand your value, or you might just value yourself at this level. And I said, that's okay. Everybody has room to grow. But sometimes when you value yourself too low, you get treated like trash. And then you start to believe that you are trash. So you need to come up. If someone is, especially with the situation I was dealing with, if someone is popping off at you out the blue for no reason, and then it happens, too many times. First off, I told her the next time it happens, especially because I heard it happening, I will. I said, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it then. Mm-hmm. But then I realized, I said, I can't be all over the world fighting everybody's battles for them. I cannot. As much fun as that would be, I cannot do that. So, but I can't stand to hear people getting just ripped one, for no reason because of somebody else's insecurity. So that. Oh, this dude was on one. So, and she was sitting there trying to smile and try to maintain the whole time, and I'm like, no. This, people forget my ears, but man, it was ridiculous. So
Wait, he was yelling at her while you were present?
Yeah, because she was on the phone. So I went out to go get something to eat, right? So while I'm there, this girl, I'd see her around the neighborhood every now and then. So we just started talking. She's a young mom and all that kind of stuff. So and then she's talking about, she's getting herself together. Like I've been seeing her really working hard to get her life on track, to get things together. But then this guy is basically telling her that she can't do anything, that she's just, if she's hanging out with other men, it's because all she's looking for is to get plowed, basically, right? So, I'm using lovely words today. So he told her that she was dumb, that she was stupid, and that she needs to give up the idea that she could be anything other than a baby mama, right? Or something like that. So she is sitting there trying to, be all nice because she's in front of me while this conversation is happening. And I said, why, so after the phone call ends, I said, well, why do you allow him to treat you like that's your title. Like your title is worthless baby mama, you know. And she said, well, I don't know what else to say to him. You know, she said, I did have a baby out of wedlock, and I didn't get my, I'm just now getting my GED. I said, but see, you're working towards something. You're working towards your GED. You have a baby, and you're still working toward your GED. And meanwhile, you have a job. Let me ask you, does he live with his mama or his friends? She just started laughing, and she said, his mama. I said, see,
oh and God.
You know, you see what I'm saying? I'm like, these 20-some-odds, man, they just don't get it. I'm like, man, okay, how's a man going to prepare to, okay, because now in Hispanic culture, a man will stay at home so he can save money so that when he gets married, he can move out with his, with his wife.
Mm-hmm.
They can have their own place and stuff like that, right?
Korean culture too.
Yeah, Korean culture too. And down south, they do that bit too, depending on which area of the south you're talking about for the black culture. But we all over the place. But the thing is, so the thing about living at home, that's not the issue. Living at home and doing nothing is an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Living at home
and getting allowance from your mom is an issue.
Yeah, that's something too. That's a whole other show all by itself. But like if you're talking about, I want to, like, okay, I know a guy right now who lives at home with his mom and all that, and it's always the mom. It's never the mom and dad. It's very rarely do you hear them at home with mom and dad, because dad kicks boys out.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. But dads will be like, you know what?
That's so true.
Dads will be like, you know what? I think it's a great idea that you want to stay here and save money, but if you're going to stay here and save, you're paying rent. And then if you stay here and save too long, because you ain't even in a relationship, you need to go get your own place to figure out what kind of man you're going to be before you meet somebody. Because people are always different when they're on their own than they are when they're at home. Because you have to set your own rules, figure out how you're going to live, because you're going to ask somebody else to join you in that lifestyle, especially if you're the head of the house. So, like my mom was a big fan of, you boys have to get your own place so that you can make your mistakes before you drag somebody else into those mistakes with you. She said you got to know how you do in your own space, because a lot of the time, especially when I, like even with my wife, a lot of times the wife is going to come straight from her parents' house. So if you don't know how to take care of a house and take care of what has to happen and all that, then you guys are going to be sitting there trying to learn together, and the fights will ensue. She said, trust your mama, boy. I'm like, okay, I got it, but a lot of people now, they don't even know who they are outside of their parents' house. They don't know how they deal with the individual stresses of being on their own. Because when you live with your parents, now I gotta say, if I could have lived with my mama longer, I probably would have. I'm not even gonna lie, because I was out all the time anyway, so it didn't make any difference to me. Mm-hmm. But until either, of course, you come in at certain times, and they're like, so what you been out there doing? You home awfully late, or whatever. And even if they don't do that, you kind of feel a little weird, because you're coming in at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's not because you were at a concert or something. You just it's just weird sometimes. Especially
when they try to give you a curfew.
Oh yeah.
My mom loves to do that when she comes to visit. It's my house. My house. She calls me to make sure I'm coming home at the time that she told me to come home. It's like, really?
My wife was 21. My wife was 21 and had a 10 o'clock curfew, and she was paying rent. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, because when I met her, yeah, she was about 21 when I met her or something like that. And she had a 10 o'clock curfew. I'm like, but you get out of school at 8. And I said, so you can't do nothing for yourself? You have to be home? For what purpose? I'm trying to figure that out. Because, how you going to learn about life and stuff if you're not, you don't have to be out all hours of the night, but you should be able to go see a movie after school or something, to relax every now and then. Something, but no, 10 o'clock curfew. I was floored.
And what if she broke that curfew? What happened? She was grounded?
You remember those eyes? Do you remember those eyes that you met?
Yes.
Yeah. So the eyes.
Then you just wear sunglasses.
Yeah. but yeah, I just couldn't figure that whole thing out at first. But I figured it out later. But yeah. So the thing is, if you have the opportunity, like I'm just going like for men, if you have the opportunity to get your own place, I highly recommend it, to be quite honest, because you kind of, especially nowadays, you kind of want to know what kind of man you're going to be in these crazy situations that come to us now. You know, whether it's in the workforce or in, you know, different relationships or even in our personal relationship. What kind of person are we? How do we run our house? How do we handle ourselves? Because we're basically going to go out there, and that character that we have is going to not only be in our home, but it's also going to go into the relationship. So by the time you meet the one you want to be with, you kind of should have a standard and an idea of what kind of person you are before you start telling her who you want her to be for you. You kind of need to know, especially nowadays, because everybody is wilding out. So you kind of want to know, well, who am I? How do I see the world around me? How do I deal with things when they stress me out? How do I, you know, handle situations when I'm disappointed? How do I act when I'm disappointed? How do I act when I'm happy? How do I do when I really want to talk about something but I'm not sure how to say it? How do I do those things? Because all those things are going to come right through your front door. And if you ask somebody to stay with you, live with you, marry you, you better know how you deal with certain things. Or I'm telling you the God's honest truth. If I didn't know these things about myself, me and my wife wouldn't have made it through the first 2 years. We wouldn't have. Because it was hard enough. It's hard enough integrating somebody into your lifestyle, especially, you know, especially if one person's coming from their mama's house into your house, or both of you are going into your own brand new house, but neither one knows who they are, or like, well, if they're both coming from parents' house, you have a hard time figuring out who you are without them in your back pocket. You know, even though when you're with them, you just want to rebel, like, I need my own place, I just need to get out. But as soon as you get out, you're like, well, can I come back to visit? Like for a couple weeks, because it gets hard. It gets difficult at times, right? But you got to know how you deal with those difficulties. But my wife came straight from her parents' house to mine, to the house that I got, that I basically knew who I was. Okay, I knew that I wasn't about a whole bunch of chaos and a whole bunch of whatever. I knew I wasn't about calling people names and doing that kind of stuff and whatever. And she wasn't that kind of person, but she could say some things that if I didn't know who I was, it would be like World War II up in our house like every other day, just because she don't know how to talk to people, or couldn't talk to people back then. She would just say things that she felt I should be able to take because I'm a man, not because I'm a person who has feelings or anything like that. And then if I ever said the things that were on my mind according to, and you know, and I only fight with facts. So if I'd have just fought with facts, it would have ended well. I'd have won, but we'd have both lost in that situation. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it took me a long time to fight the urge to win.
That's hard.
Girl, I remember one day I popped something hot in my mouth because I just could not. It was hard because I had to take these hits because I was like, you just don't understand who I am and who I had to become because I was on my own. You're not on your own. So you have a perception of what life was going to be. You have this image of what is supposed to happen in what marriage is supposed to be and all that sort of stuff. But you ain't had no real relationship outside your mama and daddy's house. And if you did have a relationship, it wasn't outside your mama and daddy's house. You know, mm-hmm. So your perception was, ooh, let me go talk to so-and-so about how I feel about this. And then are you even checking the advice you're getting from your friends about your relationships? Because I've heard some really jacked up advice given recently. 3 or 4 girls told me that they had their hearts broken with their first love. The guy cheated or whatever. And it's a very common story, you know. So and then their friends told them, well, what you need to do is sleep with other people so you'll get over the first one. I'm like, what the hell? I said, were these girls you talked to? She said, well, yeah. I said, well, dummy, why'd you? I was like, why would you go talk to people who are doing the most reckless stuff about how you should fix your heart and having your heart fixed? And it's because you're broken up right now, and because no, don't. It was ridiculous. I mean, I've heard some crazy things over like I said, the last 3 to 4 weeks have been insane in terms of the things that I've heard. But most of the stuff I'm hearing right now are from people who are, let's say, 19 to 28. And I'm like,
sounds about right.
One girl said he hit me, but he didn't mean to.
Huh?
I said, did he draw his hand back first? Or, I mean, was he picking something up and then you just happened to be in the way? Because that happens, because, you know, Jules almost took out somebody at a restaurant trying to get a flat. So I know these things happen. You know, so I know accidents happen. He could have been trying to fix the VCR, or, you know, not VCR, good Lord, who uses that anymore? But he could have been trying to pick some cords with the TV or something and then reach back real quick and you just happened to be in the way. Was that what happened? Well, no, we were just talking or fighting. Well, we were just having a disagreement. Yeah, loud. Well, you know, what did he say right before you got accidentally hit? And then all she said was, well, he just told me that I need to understand he's the man.
Oh! Oh, hell no.
I'm like, what in the world? Well, you know, she's like, but it was my fault. I shouldn't have raised my voice at him like that because, you know, he was probably right. I could have been, you know, I could have handled the situation better.
Okay, that might be the case, but that does not equate him hitting her anywhere.
The only place a man should ever hit a woman, and this is in a loving relationship. Never mind, go ahead.
Dirty!
I'm sorry, you know. I don't want to remove all the pleasures from people. Talking about, don't you ever hit her. No. It's called a pat.
It's a love tap. That's different.
A love tap with just a little bit of pop on it. Anyway.
Recoil.
Like, hey!
Ricochet.
Oh, man.
I remember one and only time I ever got hit by a guy. I don't even know if I told you, D. It was a friend, an ex-friend now, obviously. We were at somebody's birthday party, something celebration. We were at a bar, I think, and we were just like joking around, you know, had a couple beers, and then this was a while ago. I don't even remember how long, years ago. And we were talking about something, and we just started joking around. And when we started joking around, he was dishing some like jokes, you know, like nasty jokes, like your mama stuff and like, you know, weight stuff, like, you know, he was dishing it out. So I was like, oh, you're gonna go there? Yeah, he was going in. He was going in. So you're gonna do that? Oh, I'll meet you right there. I'll meet you right there. So I went, you know, neck to neck, and he could not take it. And so, I mean, I was standing face to face with him like this. Oh, you're going to see this? Oh, no. But it was all in good joke, technically. It was a little heated, but it was still fun. And he couldn't take it. In his drunken stupor, he went like this and punched me in my eye. I went, did this fool just sock me in the... Did anybody say this? Did he just sock me in the freaking eye? I was livid, and I didn't know how to not cause a scene because it was my friend's birthday, and we were in public.
That's when you'd be like, look, just because you see this happen to your mama every day, don't mean I'm your mama. You know?
I wanted to beat the living crap out of him, but I took the high road, I think, at the time, and I just gave him a real stern look, and that's the last time I saw him. And I never talked to him ever again. We're done. I said, we're done, and I left. But yeah, one and only time.
Wow. I mean, I've had girls hit me, but we've talked about that before. Self-control and all that.
I hit you.
I don't really count you with the girl category,
right.
Which was actually one of the questions that came in last week. Somebody was asking, just so we can take away from the violence for a real quick second. So we're talking about Jules. That's a way to take away from the violence. But one of the questions that came in last week was, how do remember I talked about last week about how you were kind of a trigger for me. You would set my temper off every now and then and again and again. Right? And they want to know how I got over it, because I guess I never talked about how I got over you just being able to affect me in that way. And but apparently there are a lot of people who in the industry who are teaming up with people who just cause this reaction And and I said, oh, I was just mentioning it because of how we were talking and stuff, but I said, but okay, so this is how I dealt with it. So I said, oh, let me educate you guys real quick. So my issue wasn't so much with Jules, but with the idea that I believed she saw me a certain way. Because in my opinion, Jules can go out and get whatever she wants, whenever she wants, however she wants. That's especially what it was like back then. Because I realized that she reminded me of girls that I knew in high school and all that, but she also reminded me of recording artists that I was dealing with at the time, that I had been dealing with, who were all about themselves. It was never about the team. It was never about, working together to accomplish a joint goal or even to better each other's situation. It was always about them. So, like we had an artist who was basically trying to do backdoor deals behind me and Charles's back at the time, but we were the ones. I mean, to the degree where we were the ones who paid for all of her production stuff, and then she was trying to do stuff behind our backs to try to land deals or even offer to sleep with producers to get tracks and stuff. Just crazy stuff. So, so I was, this is kind of the reason why I was almost done. I was pretty much going to give up the whole management thing because the people were all about themselves and whatever. So by the time Jules shows up, I saw just all this potential in her. And, but two things had to happen for me to be able to work with Jules. One of those things was I would not be able to be the #1 artist at the company. That was already given. I was in 2 meetings about that before we even really decided to sign Jules versus me just working with Jules. But the other thing too was that that I knew I was going to have to deal with my anger that I was building up toward women that I had worked with in this business so far. So because I invited people over to my house, we took care of them, my wife fed them, we went to the studio, my wife made sure that everybody had and this, that, and the other, and then these people ran off and treated us like we were nothing, like we did nothing for them and whatever. So right around that time or shortly after that time period, I met Jules. But I became a fan, and thank God it happened this way. I became a fan before I thought of her as an artist that we might sign one day, because that was never the intent. But when she came on board, then it was just very. I had to deal with what I was going through and how I perceived her intentions, because for some reason, now this is something I've heard on so many levels as somebody who represents Jules. I've always heard she's intimidating. Is it because she can get whatever she wants whenever she wants it? And I said, and the first person who ever said that to me, other than me saying that to myself, first person who said that to me was a producer who refused to release a song that we did with him because the truth came out and he didn't want her getting more shine than him. Right? And especially because he didn't want to, he produced the track, he rapped on the track, but he didn't want her to get more attention than he was going to get for the track. And he got upset because I wouldn't let her sign to his record label because he wanted to be able to control, basically her. I was like, it's a tight song, man, release it. But she ain't signed it to you. She ain't signed it to your label. And he was hot. After that point, he never wanted to go back to the studio with us in general. Good times. But so what I did was I had to start looking at Jules for who she was versus the people that preceded her. And the hardest thing for any person to do is to be able to get past their own insecurities to deal with what's in front of them. But I felt like if I didn't do that, then this whole thing wouldn't work out, because a lot of opportunities that came for Jules in general, they didn't come for the other artists as quickly as they came for Jules. Like, people were just like, ooh, can we do this? Why don't you come out to Vegas so we can see agents and managers and everybody just wanted. I'm like, they weren't doing that mess for me, but they were doing it for Jules out the gate. I was like, okay. And then the moment I remember I was the maddest when I realized that she could be better than me. She she could rock. Like if she knew how good she was, she could kill it. Because I was good at putting on a show, and I was good at being a quick writer or whatever. But Jules is kind of a complete package. She can go out there and kill it. And so when I recognized, I remember one day I looked up and I was talking to my wife and said, she's gonna be better than me. And as a competitive person, I had to make a decision. So I made the right one, but woo, that's like somebody stepping up and taking your mic from you and saying, okay, well, you're done.
Oh, that just got me really hot.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
the
like,
best thing that's ever happened.
You know, and then they tell you it's for the betterment of the team.
Oh, man. Oh, I'm just losing my bowel movement. So, okay, I just have to say something, because this is so fascinating to me, why people, you included, have this perception that, you know, I got whatever the hell I wanted, whenever the heck I wanted, whatever that saying was. Because nothing could be further from the truth. Oh. And yet everybody just assumed that. So I don't know.
There's a thing called presence that you have. Like, you have this presence. Like you know, everybody wants to give me a hug. Everybody wants to tell me their problems. Everybody. Happened this past weekend. Like, I was at a thing in LA, and it turned into a church event. Literally, it turned into a church event in the middle of the access department in LA. It was the most incredible situation. Our new artist that we're working with, she was just like, everybody treats you this way? I said, welcome to Jules's world. My wife was just sitting there like, everywhere we go, this is pretty much what it's like. But women were crying, and it was insane. It was crazy. But you have this presence that says, if you want it, you can get it. Now, whether you know how that, you know, how that is or not, that's another thing. But what people perceive when they see you, I mean, think about how many times people like think about our acting coach, and he's like, why is she even here? Like, what can we possibly do for her? But yet they're always telling everybody else, you need to be here. This is where you need to be, right? but you go into studios and people are like, wow, she's incredible. You know, to the point to where Jules can lay a track and then lay the next track, and you don't even know the difference between the two because they're that on, right? Nobody does it. Even our friend who was in town, Elevator Man, who was in town, when we told him that story in the studio, he was like, she's like maybe 1 out of 5 people who can do that I know, and I know a lot of people in this business. You know what I'm saying? But I think the issue is when it comes down to industry people and people who are competitive, they recognize that you can technically come in and dominate, or can come really damn close and make them have to work harder. You know, even if you don't kill it. Like, because my thing is, I remember one time something was going on, and I said, my fighter in me just wants to destroy her. I want to get on a mic and just boom, and like, that's right, I'm the man, right? and my wife laughed so hard. She was like, I haven't seen that side of you in a minute. I said, because this is too easy for her. She can come in, she can lay stuff out, not even have to work at it, and boom, it's there. Where everybody else is working, training, and she walks in and she's like, oh, well, that's what you, okay, cool. Okay, now what do I do next? We're like, you know, and that was the perception that everybody. And I remember one day this dude was like, F her, we don't even need her. It was like, it was like producers who work with major people were like, so they were trying to talk to me, they were trying to talk to her through me because they were afraid to approach her because of her presence and how she's just waiting for her turn. That's that sleeper on you. That's that one who's gonna come up on you and like they put on their gloves slow in the ring while everybody else is like, okay, let's get this on. She's like, Oh, ding. Oh, okay. Bam. And then take this off, please. Take that off.
Yeah, take it off.
She's like, ooh. She's like, my nails okay? My nails are okay. Okay, cool. Well, what are we doing next? Like, but that's how she walks in with this. You know, in almost everything creative, she walks in and it seems like she doesn't have to work. So people were like, so she memorized those lines like that. So she got this thing that. So when people found a flaw or an area or a thing that needs to be worked on, they were like doing a Holy Ghost dance in the background. Yes, finally! Oh my God, thank you. That was, whew, I was afraid there for a minute that she was gonna get this the first time through. Oh my God, thank you so much, Deej. You know, because girls in the acting class were intimidated by her. First or second time out. I think it was second time out. They were like, first time she was like this. Second time she's like this. Some girls didn't even want to play opposite her, and they called me to let me know they didn't want to play opposite her. So then they started putting girls up against her that had no skill, and those girls basically drug down the performance level, and then they focused all the negative stuff toward Jules. Well, Jules can't. I think you need to do this, or I think you need to do this. I think you need to do this. So Jules is up there like, okay, explain that. You know, I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, so, this is not going to end well. Because the girls who knew that were booking, that were doing stuff, they did not want to go up against somebody who could make them look like they weren't doing anything at all. So for a while there, Jules was getting newbies. So then I had to start putting in particular requests for particular actors. But it was interesting.
Oh, was that what happened?
You know, there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes there.
I don't even know these things.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was...
Interesting.
Man.
Well, there goes memory lane on... But, I mean, technically I did work since I was 4. I did work all these years. So, yeah.
No, it's just one of those things where, just like, you know how, like, if I get in there and see, this is like what my partner this is what our partner talks about. I say my partner, but he's not our partner. Our partner talks about when he says, you know, technically no one's ever really going to be able to deal with you guys together. Because what I describe about you, that's what he noticed people were doing with me. But it's hard to see it when we're the person doing it. You see what I'm saying? Because, like, I remember there was a song that I wrote. We were sitting here listening to the tracks one day, and there was a song that I wrote, and I still can't remember it to this day. It was the most beautiful, most excellent radio song ever. And it was about the radio. But
I know what you're talking about. I do know. I'm not going to sing it right now, but I will sing it for you later.
But I was like, and we're like, man. And then you got upset with me because I forgot it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this was one of our first times working together. It was one of the first times we worked together, but it seemed like it came so easy because I was writing songs left and right. Because
wait, is this the one where we're sitting in your living room?
Yep.
And we were listening to tracks. I know exactly which one you're talking about, and I do remember the hook. At least we can start from there.
That's a plus.
But seriously, you guys, this guy can write like. I mean, he freestyles songs like Jay-Z freestyles rap. It comes like
I'm gonna put that in the song. I'll put that in the song.
Put it in the song. Like it's insane. It comes to him so easily. He hears any track and boom, there's a song. You know, like whether he remembers it or not, that's a whole different story. Most of the time, no. But at the moment, it's like,
and Jules became a quick writer, though.
I keep being a typewriter. So as soon as he starts singing something, I'm like, shorthand comes in handy.
So yeah, I mean, so how I saw you is how Charles saw me, and that's how some of the other producers saw me. You know what I mean? Because it seemed like it was easy. But like you said, I've been writing songs since I was 3. You know what I mean? So, and I've been making it up since I was 3. I had not been writing them down. I started writing songs down till I was like 13. So that's 10 years, you know, of just off the top. So, and really I thought my skill was dulling because I hadn't been doing it that much. But as soon as I went in the studio with with Miss New over here, oh man, it was just flowing. It was like, oh yeah, that's what this feels like. So not to mention last time we were in the studio. So, but anyway, that was fun. That was tight. But Anyway, sorry y'all. This is the Hangout, so it's liable to go any direction at any time. I'm serious. Like when I listened back to all the work, I was so impressed. I mean, with Breon, who even the new one, she was listening to Breon stuff. She's like, why isn't he out today? I said, he's an accountant now, but he's so skilled. But I bet you if I called him up to do something, that's one thing. Most of the acts that we've worked with, if I called them up, they would still be like, yeah, let's go do something, dude. Let me get on track with you guys, whatever. So most of the situations were not bad, like they left and didn't do anything. One of our artists hit the Billboard charts, the top 100 charts. One of our artists, a lot of people had great opportunities. Some artists just discovered that they were not where they thought they were, the way they thought they were going to be. Some found out that they could get to a certain level and would freeze up. And when they learned that about themselves, they figured out that where they really wanted to be was just where they were, and they liked it there. So we're not going to make you do something that you're not ready to do, whatever. So, but when I listen back to the work, I recognized the change that took place. I mean, it was great. And then even now, like if I played some of the first things Jules did, and then played y'all the stuff that's coming out like in a couple of months, y'all'd be like, that's not Jules. It is. It is Jules. One thing I do want
different sides of me.
The different flavors of Jules. She ain't got 31 of them, but she's got a lot. a lot of lyrical flavor. Now, the one thing though is one song that we heard and everybody was just like, oh my God, that is a tight song. Well, first off, let me tell you this, because I know it's going to move you a little bit. So I was talking to these people at this office that I was in LA, and talking to her and helping her understand some things or whatever. This woman, she's like 85 years old or something like that. Yeah. I'm talking to her, and and she's and we're, because there's a group of us just giving advice to some of the younger girls that are around the area who were in kind of bad relationship situations and thinking they can change the person and whatever, right? So we're all talking, and then after I go do what I have to do, I come back and she really wants to talk more. So I come back to talk to her, and I'm explaining to her that everybody needs to relax every once in a while. So then I put on one of our newer songs, like last week's songs that we recorded or something like that. She broke down and could not stop crying. She was like, when this comes out, I'll be your first, second, third, through 50th customer. I will buy as many of them as I can because this song is going to change lives. And it changed her. And the woman sitting next to her broke down and started crying too. And I'm like, everybody needs that. Everybody needs that so good feeling, everybody needs something. And she said it feels like a gospel song.
That's what we said in the studio.
Yeah, but it was great. But that's one of the things I knew you. I mean, she's like her thing was, it was funny because older women are just funny for me, especially older black women. That baby right there, that baby right there, girl. You hear that baby right there? That baby right there is anointed. Yes, she is. Mm-hmm. touching my heart. I hope she knows how anointed she is. You tell that girl she's anointed. I said, yes, ma'am. Like. Well, she's like, it touched my heart. She said, I haven't felt like this, like I haven't felt my heart move like this since my husband passed. But now he's in heaven. And she said, but now I feel like it's all okay. And I'm like, I know. I said I get to hear this voice often. And but man, women were crying and people were like, where can I get the song? And I was like, well, technically, you haven't heard the song yet. so yeah, but I was like, okay, it was just a really good day out, and I love the fact that I'm actually able to. Now, I'm not always happy that I have to be somewhere and wait for 6 hours to do something, but I am always happy that I get to be out and meet new INNERMIX fans. Like that is becoming. It seems like that's my job right now, is to go out and meet new INNERMIX fans. Oh man, but they're always in hospitals or government offices. Or on the phone because of internet. Just like I didn't even feel bad that people were ripping our tracks off of our website. I thought somebody's ripping our tracks off. Oh man, it was funny. So anyway, let me try to segue that back into what we were talking about. You you really have to take time to figure out your value, what you want people, like when you decide you want to bring somebody into your life, especially as a man, you kind of have to know what you're bringing to the table. You can't, because men have this thing where they want the girl to bring everything to the table and all they have to bring is the money because that's what they're told. To be real, that's what they're told. Every song says pretty much that, so nowadays anyway. So, there is no more Babyface songs out there. You notice that? Nothing says.
I was just about to say that. I was like, no, but back in the day, like Babyface, Usher, Boyz II Men, they had great songs about how to treat women.
Yeah, but like remember Babyface said, what's that? I'll run your bath. I'll wash your clothes. Mm-hmm. I'll do whatever you need me to do, baby. As soon as you get home from work, and I was like. So he had a hard day at work. She coming home from work, but he wants to make sure that she's good. So he's running her bath water. He's washing her hair. He's doing these things just to let her know that he appreciates the work that she does too. I'm like, that's what's up, because that's what I'm about. But oh man, you don't hear that no more.
No, you don't.
Now it's just these hoes ain't loyal, and everybody dancing to it like it's a love song. So they were like, it's the truth. We ain't loyal. I love you, Chris.
God. Oh God. That just made me cringe. Oh.
Yeah, just a little. Yeah. But you gotta know where you're going. If you're talking about wanting to get married, you're talking about wanting to build a relationship, because this is straight from the guy side, and this is what guys usually hear, when they're ready. This is what they want to hear when they're ready to start getting serious about getting married. Is you have to set the tone for what you're going to be bringing the love of your life into. If you don't know who you are, you're not good on stability. You're not good with dealing with stressful situations, let's say, because a lot of people are not good with those. You need to learn your process on how you deal with things, because when you bring the love of your life into your situation, it will bring stress, because she has a way she does things too. Mm-hmm. So hold on, I was gonna say something that our partner told me. He said, the best thing about having a strong, independent woman is that she eventually just takes over. I said, how's that a good thing? He said, well, because they try to compromise. They try really hard. But then, he said, but then they just take over and they tell you that you aren't doing anything right, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, they say, how come you're not doing anything? And then all you have to do is say, you told me to sit back and do nothing because you knew how to do everything. He said, so it's good because they set themselves up to be told that they can't do everything and that they should not do everything. And he said, and eventually what happens is they let you be the man in their life. He said, but in the meantime, just watch them. He said, it's like watching television. I said, that can't be good, Charles. That can't be good for a relationship. He said, I didn't say it was good for the relationship. I just said it was entertaining. Oh, just like his advice on how to start a fight.
What was that?
Oh my goodness. His thing was, if you say that I'm doing something enough, I'm just going to be doing that thing. You said that I messed up. I think he told me something like, he said one day, she told me that I was, making a mess, that the house was dirty, that the carpets were dirty, and that I wasn't doing anything about it. He said, you know what? You're right. He shook up a soda and opened it. He said, now it's really dirty. He said, now you're telling the truth. He said, before I didn't do this stuff, but now since you keep saying I'm doing this stuff, I don't want you to be a liar. There you go.
Oh my gosh.
He said, you upset, so now you want me to be upset, but I love you too much to let you be a liar, so hold on.
I can't believe he's still alive.
You know what, though? Every man I know has had that moment where they really considered it. Like, it was so vivid, it was like one of those Family Guy moments.
Yeah.
Like, because I know, like, if somebody, like, a lot of men who never thought about cheating, if the woman keeps saying, you're cheating on me, you're cheating on me, you're cheating on me, you're like, you know what? Forget it. You don't trust me anyway, so why should I stay in this kind of situation with you? I'm going to cheat on you, whatever. Because he's become numb to.
I mean, there's a song out about it. Well, it's actually, I think, a female singing it. I might as well have. I think it was Keisha Cole.
Yeah, Keisha Cole, yeah.
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 Exactly that situation.
Well, like, one of the big conversations I've had, with my 20-some-odd group, I call it my group because I've been talking to them a lot. But my 20, especially, now let's bring down the age range a little bit. Between 19 and 23. Oh, no, 24. I think that one's 24. So in that age range, these girls are really just starting to, they have no concept of what a positive relationship is. They just have a concept of what, that they should be in one because, quote unquote, they're getting old.
Oh my God, I could.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me.
It was funny too. They was like, I'm gonna put all you guys on a call with Jules so we can all talk about this. But then the moment that one girl said, "But I'm just getting so old," I said, "Oh no, this ain't gonna work. This don't work." I was like, because Jules can really be helpful, but as soon as you started saying, "I'm just getting so old," like, you know what? She might be busy. Because no. So, but anyway. So one of the things that I've been talking to these girls about is the fact that they feel like they have to be in a relationship, but yet the guy they're with, doesn't trust them. So because 3 of these girls are in the entertainment business, one of them is an accountant, and the other one is a pre-law or something like that. So her man gets upset because she spent too much time studying with other men. And basically, and you can pretty much pick up the other ones. The other ones are pretty, the accountant is never home or never available to talk, but, she does corporate level accounting. Like, she's going to be busy periodically. It's going to happen.
Very busy periodically.
Yeah.
I know people who work more than, 13-hour shifts during busy seasons.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. So she's like, so he doesn't trust me, and he's thinking I'm out here cheating and doing stuff. So I might as well just be out here doing it then, if he thinks that's what I'm doing. So I had to talk. I have a history of this. I talk people out of cheating, right? Which I don't know. It's just interesting to me. But a lot of these girls, out of the girls, 3 of them were thinking about seriously cheating in their relationship, because they're like, well, he doesn't trust me, and then he's always asking me this, that, and the other. He's always on my case. He never believes me unless I'm right in his sight, or he thinks I'm out here plotting against him. So I'm like, plotting against him? Wait, is he like is he like a 50s villain? Like in those old movies, you're plotting against me. Like, is it, what's up with this? And she said, well, he's been burnt before, as everybody has, He's been burnt before, so now he needs to know everything she's doing. I said, he's been burnt before, but that's not your fault. She's like, I know, but he just needs to be comforted. I said, you're not his mama either. She's like, D, but I'm just trying to tell you that I think that if I just, invest more time, I said, you can invest all the time you want, but it's not going to make him trust you. It's just going to make him control you. There's a difference. I said, if you get back to where you are aiming for, you'll know whether he's going to hang on or fall off. But you don't stop your full momentum because somebody is having trust issues because of an old relationship. You remind them that relationship is over for a reason, but this one is new. And then you hold them to that. You don't just be like, well, I understand you're having trust issues, this, that, and the other. Understanding is maybe 3 months long. After that, if you don't know me after 3 months, something's wrong. You don't want it. You don't want to know me by now. You want to, seriously. There are so many people right now who are in controlled situations. Being controlled is bad. They're getting emotionally manipulated. They're getting controlled. They're getting, and then when it's time for them, and when they recognize it's time for them to leave, they don't have the strength to do it because they're like, well, what are they going to do without me? the same thing that they did with you. Nothing. They're just they're stuck there. All they know is the old relationship hurt them, so they want to control the new one. And if they can't control the new one, then they want you to feel like it's your fault that the relationship's falling apart, because that's the only way they can have to protect themselves. I said, but I've seen this pattern so much. Seriously, seen this pattern so much. But my 20s, my 20 people, my 20-year-old people, you girls, come on. You're smarter. You're worth more than that. You know more than that. You just don't want to be by yourself. You don't want to feel like you have to start over again. But to be honest, like this woman said at the thing on Friday, she said, I was in that kind of relationship for 11 years. She said, damn near 12. She said, and do you want to be in a relationship where somebody doesn't trust you for 11, 12 years before you get the strength to say, you know what, I'm done? She said, these little girls, they've been in relationships for 4 months, and they act like they've been married for 12 years to these people. I said, no. I said, I said, nowadays, social media and everything makes you feel like you have to stay in the relationship because you claim that this is your person. This is the person that's working with, and blah, blah. So the thing is ladies, set a value for yourself. Know what you're worth, and make sure that it is not because of what you see in, let's say, music videos. That's the biggest culprit right now. But you're worth more. Like, your sex is worth more than a couple of drinks. Just because someone knows what to say. I lost my man card so many times over the weekend. I'll tell you, because these guys that had been screwing up, right? They all came back, and they all came back with the lines, and I call it baby game. That's what I call it. I said, these little knuckleheads coming in with this baby game, and y'all falling for it, hook, line, and sinker. I said, but baby game, yeah, they're hitting you with these lines like, maybe we should just see each other more. Maybe we can make this work a little better. We were already seeing each other, and you couldn't make it work. What makes you think that seeing each other more is going to make it better? You're like, it should be better because we're not seeing each other as much. Because when we see each other all the time, we're just going to grind each other's gears like crazy. And then we're going to turn to sex as a way to compensate for what we're not able to do emotionally or verbally. Are you kidding me? They were like, well, I said, let me figure out what your date is like. Just so I can. I said, let's see. Take you to a movie that you can take yourself to, but at least he's there with you, so fantastic. Then he holds your hand, he walks with you for a little while, but just for a little while because he's got to get home. But he wants you to go with him. And these girls are chuckling at this point. They're just giggling. And I said, then he says, I just want to talk to you. So you sit down, you talk for a little while, but not really about much of nothing because his hand is already on your thigh. and now you don't slept with him, and then all of a sudden he's back into the mood he was in before he said, we need to spend more time together, because now he got what he needed again. So what's changed? What's happened? I said, and it's not hard to tell. I said, and I told one person, but maybe it's just because of who I am. I told one person, I said, I know you're sleeping with him even though you said you're not going to be. The reason I know it is because you are hooked emotionally, more so than just somebody who really wants to build a solid relationship. You are in. You're hooked. The hooks are in you. And now it's not really what I don't know what I'm going to do without him. It's I don't know what I'm going to do without it.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying? So, and the thing is, every one of them has said that it's not even all that exciting or whatever. They just got addicted to the actual physical interaction.
Really? But that can be with anybody, technically.
Well, yeah, but they're addicted to their person because that's the person that they're with right now. Remember, today it's all about who you're with today, not with the possibility of being in a healthy, positive situation with the same, love and all that kind of stuff down the road. The biggest line that guys are using right now is, I think I'm falling in love with you. And these girls are going bananas over this line, right? Because everybody wants to hear it, and plus you hear it in all the teen dramas.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm falling in love with you. So I said, okay, so these girls are just cracking me up. And I don't mean to laugh, but it's funny because it's straight up baby game, right? So I said, okay. she's like, so one of them says, well, so that's why, I can't leave because I think I'm really getting to him. He cries in front of me, this, that, and the other, blah, blah. But guys are crying now, y'all. Like guys are crying. You know what makes it easier for a guy to cry right now? Pollution. No lie.
No lie. Freaking way.
It makes it much easier because your eyes are already watery because you have allergies or whatever, and so you close your eyes real tight. I'm gonna tell you how it's done. You close your eyes real tight, you lay back, and you tell a really hard story for you to tell, but it's really not hard because you've told it so many times before. But you're like, and then you get one last really hard squeeze on the eyes, and then she sees the emotion in your eyes and how you're trying to fight it, and then you just lean over to her, and like, I just feel so much. Like, see, I got my eyes to start tearing. I just feel so much right now. Blah, blah. These girls like, oh my God, he's crying. Oh my God, he really feels it. He lets me in. No. Oh, no. No. So, yeah, so these girls.
Well, okay, don't sleep with them.
That was my solution.
Don't sleep with them. If he says that he loves you so much, see how he does without you sleeping with him. If he loves you, he loves you.
Have you dealt with any of these 20-year-olds lately?
No, I have not.
These girls, oh my God, they're like teenage boys when it comes to that. But I don't know how to say no to him because, he took me out, so aren't I? Now this is a real one. Aren't I obligated to sleep with him? This was a real question.
No.
This was a real question, but you know what? I've heard this before from one of our past interns. I'd heard this before. Well, you're supposed to because they took you out.
Hold up. What is the difference between that and a prostitute? He gave me money, so now I have to sleep with him because it's an exchange.
Right.
He bought me dinner, so now I have to sleep with him? No. You're not a prostitute.
Did you see your face in the screen? Did you see us?
No, I did not.
She said, no. All her blackness is coming out. All her blackness is just, I was like, where did this come from? No!
My hair's down today. That's what happened. My hair's down.
Hey, did you see your little figure that I put up for you?
What figure?
Oh, you haven't seen it? The little thing that I put on my personal Facebook page for marketing our show.
What did you put? Now I gotta see it. What did you put?
Hey, we're live. You can't be doing that. No.
Oh, yes, I can.
She's like, unlike you, D, I can sit back from the screen and watch things and still be in the camera. See that? Look at how I do that there. Yeah.
The Afro puff?
Yeah.
Okay. I like that one. That one's cute.
Yeah.
You're not in trouble.
Oh, please. You ain't even about to drive out to get me in trouble. You know. So anyway, you guys, moral of this story is like we do, we have fun with all the the journey, the adventure, the ride that it takes for us to get from where we were to who we are now. But make sure that you set like if you're the man, make sure that you kind of have goals for really where you want to be and the kind of person that you want to take that ride with you. If you're a woman, make sure that you understand your value, okay, and then hold not only yourself to that, to that, but also the person that you really want to spend your life with. Because if they don't value you before, they're definitely it's a lot of work to get them to respect and value you after. And remember, as much as people don't like to hear it, women do have a lot of power in the relationship. It may be that men, are maybe the leaders, head of the household or whatever, but women hold a lot of the power in the relationship when it comes down to what you expect out of the man in your life. Because I tell you, if a woman expects her man to treat her well, he will not only treat her well, but also her friends, her family, and everyone else. But if she doesn't respect herself, then he doesn't have to respect any of the other people either.
Yep, that is so true.
So, so whatever is going on, like I told this nice young man at the bus when I took my daughter to the bus this morning, I said, whatever's going on, shake it off, men. Whatever's going on, you don't have to fall victim to old situations unless you allow yourself to give into those. What you want to do is you want to look at the one you want to build a future with, whether she's right in front of you or in your mind's eye, and then start preparing yourself for that person. Start preparing yourself for what you know that person's going to require of you, because nobody wants somebody who is cheap at the end of the day. Even celebrities, they may sleep with the cheap ones, but they keep the ones that cost.
Yep.
You know, those are the ones that they keep, because you make me work. You make me have to value you. You make me have to look at you as somebody that I could trust with my life.
And I've seen so many men change after they have met the one that they actually married, because these women were strong, not strong like physically strong, they're going to beat them. They were internally very strong. They knew who they were. They knew what they wanted. They knew what they wanted out of the relationship. They knew what they expected from their men. And they told them from the get-go, this is what I want. I'm not looking to just date around. I'm not looking to sleep around. If that's what you're looking for, I'm the wrong girl. And they made everything clear, put it on the table from the beginning. And the men step up to that point. And every single guy that I know that married good women or became a better man after they got married, or after they met the one that they married, is I look at the woman, and it's because the women are even stronger. And that's what you want in a relationship, is not that you're an overbearing woman in a relationship. That's not what I'm saying. But that you are, you know yourself. You know your limits. You know what you want. You know how to react, how to behave, how to tell your man what you want, so that he will meet you there, as opposed to undersell you or devalue you, or treat you like less than what you're actually worth.
So like we're saying in our closing statement here, like we're on trial, like we're about to convict some people, is women, treat yourself with the respect that you want someone else to treat you with, and at the same time, understand that strength is not being loud or being a bully or requiring that somebody buy your love with lots of nice things. It's the ability to love someone because you know that they are people too. So it's the ability to love someone and hold them up to the standard of the love you have for them. And that only comes from you understanding how much you love yourself. You treat yourself well, you'll start to treat others well, and you'll require that they treat you well too. Not in just merchandise, but actual affection and actual attention. And the one thing I had to explain to the 20-some-odds over the last 2 weeks was, it's very simple. They want to get at you, but they're not trying to get to know you. They're only learning the facts they have to know so they can get you the way they want you. They want to control, or they want to sleep with you, or they want both. That's it. And men are trained to look for weaknesses because we do it to each other. So what makes you think that when we're looking for the woman that we want to spend our life with, that we're not going to first spot your insecurities, your weaknesses, and all those things? And then because we know how to cater to those aspects of you, you think we must really, really be into you. That is not how this works. Men who find women that recognize their own weaknesses but then still value themselves in spite of those weaknesses, that is a catch. Someone who says, I may not be all these things that I think that so-and-so is, or that I blah, blah, but I know that I am very valuable, and I understand my worth, and I understand that I have a lot of love to give. I'm very supportive, and that I heard the speech earlier today. Basically I'm supportive, and that I want the best for the man that I'm with. That's the same thing a man should be saying about his woman. I'm supportive. I want her to pursue the things that give her joy. And I want to be a part of that ride with her. But I want her to know that if she ever feels weak in a moment, I'm not going to use her weaknesses against her. I'm going to be the strength that she needs in those moments. But that's what I said to my wife. Because when I get weak, I need somebody to be strong for me. And I need somebody who's going to love me back to a place of strength, as opposed to tell me, you need to just be a man and get up. I have a response to that, but the show's over. So, so you guys, take time to look at yourselves, figure out your value, and make sure that when you, one more thing, when you understand your value, you don't have to tell everybody about your value. You just have to show them. You just have to show them in the way you carry yourself and in the things you do, the decisions you make. Tell people how you value yourself. Okay?
Actions speak louder than words. Yep.
That's right. So if you guys want to follow us, you guys can follow us on Facebook. Just type in INNERMIX, INNERMIX.
And on Twitter, that's INNERMIX_show.
Yep. Then, of course, you have Instagram, which is INNERMIX360. That's 360 after the intermix.
And on Google Plus, which is what you see us now. It's INNERMIX Show plus INNERMIX Show.
Very good. So, other than that, you guys, it's been great. It's been fun, and I'm sure I'm going to be hearing more from you people in a little while. So, until then, you guys have a great night. We love hanging out with y'all.
Always. Bye.
Bye.